And just like that, we're back. It's the 4th and 1 podcast, live from Lancaster and Lidditz, Pennsylvania. As always, I'm your host, Admiral You Like That, a.k.a. self-nickname, a.k.a. Guitar G-String. Sitting next to, as always, Captain Boring. And we have some fun for you today. We don't have much. We're just going to jump basically right into it. We're obviously, as we've done every year, or at least the past year and this year, we're previewing the conferences in NCAA. If you haven't yet seen it or just want to get more in, go ahead. Anchor.fm/4th and 1 should have all the links there, but Instagram at 4th and 1 podcast. Micaiah throwing all sorts of sports knowledge and facts there and status updates for you, as well as clips getting posted to our channel, including someone who thinks that UCF is going to have the top recruiting class by week 3.
I don't know. Maybe he knows something. Maybe he knows a whole bunch of players are going to sign from the class here upcoming. But so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Thank you for the fan engagement, though. Like he said, go follow us on Instagram at 4th and 1 podcast. Go follow us on YouTube. We're trying to post more clips of the episodes. I think, Admiral, you like that? You're posting like clips of all the individual teams that we do, yeah?
At least so far, because, it's good content.
Okay. Hopefully you're putting those in playlists. Yeah?
Yeah. That's called podcast clips.
All right.
Biatch.
All righty. Well, then why don't we dive right into the Pac-12, because I'm hungry and it's 6:45 and we were supposed to start 15 minutes ago.
That's your fault for not eating before the podcast. Also, you can now find the podcast on YouTube Music and YouTube Podcasts. You're welcome. I do my job very well. We're going to just jump right on into it. We're going to USC. We're going to start with the big boy because we don't F around here. USC, Micaiah, probably the favorites by far to win. What you got for me?
I would say so. It's either them or Utah. They won the regular season title, and then they lost in the championship game to Utah. Second-year coach of Lincoln Riley, second year of Caleb Williams, who's the reigning Heisman winner. So I expect more of the same. It's going to be a top scoring offense in all the nation. I don't think that's going to change. It's going to hinge on Alex Grinch and that defense. I'm not a believer that Alex Grinch can actually get things done defensively with the defensive scheme that he has, but we're going to find out, I suppose. A lot of, like all teams, a lot of transfers in, some transfers out. They brought in Bear Alexander, a defensive tackle from Georgia. They brought in Anthony Lucas from A&M. They brought in linebacker Mason Cobb from Oklahoma State. They brought in a cornerback from Arizona. Caleb Williams got a loaded group. All the firepower is there. The transfers to make the defense better are there. We're going to see if Alex Grinch can finally get it done on the defensive side of the ball, but they are hands down the favorites in the Pac-12. Simeon, last year you were not a believer in USC. I was. USC got it done. You a believer this year or nah?
They're favorite by far. As you already said, it's every coach's second year, and I think we talked about this a little bit last year. We're going to talk about it a little bit more this year and a little bit more right now. Second year, always head and shoulders better than the first year. If your coach does not do head and shoulders better in the second year, fire him. He's not a good coach. 21 players out for transfer, 14 players in, including, as you said, Bear Alexander's, which is big. Lots of returning starters.
How many players out?
21. Yes.
Oh, wow. And how many players in, did you say?
14.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, USC had according to 24/7, USC had the second ranked transfer class in the country, this is like the first year of the transfer class. It was a little bit last year, but this is like the first big year that everybody did everything. Lots of returning starters. It's going to be hard. They're going to be scary. Last year, they went 11-3 overall, 8-1 in the conference. I forget who the 2 non-conference game losses were to. I guess 11-13. They're including their bowl games and their champions, right? Because that'd be 14 games.
They lost to Utah.
I know
twice.
they lost. I know who they lost. Yes, that was the one in the conference game and the one in the regular season.
Yep.
And then I'm guessing
they lost their bowl game to Tulane. They blew a big lead in the second half to Tulane and lost the game.
I don't know how we get to 11-3 though. I don't care about last season's stats. They are 8-1 in the conference, led the conference, still ended up absolutely crapping the bed to a Utah team. We'll obviously cover them. Yeah, it's going to be scary.
I'm ready to jump into the schedule.
I was letting you make any comment to me. I don't really need this.
No, I already made my comments.
All right, week 1 at San Jose State.
That's a win. Oh, by the way, did you figure out your graph thing yet?
You know what? What I'm going to do is a simple just tape. Yes, I figured out my graph thing.
Okay. All right. Solid answer.
Week 2, I got Nevada.
That's a win as well.
All right. Week 3 at Stanford.
That's a win as well.
Not at Stanford. They're playing Stanford. Now they're at Arizona State in week 4.
That's a win as well.
Oh, sorry, at Colorado week 5.
That is a big time win.
Okay,
that is a stomping.
Okay, shut the fuck up. We're moving on. Week stomping. 6 at Arizona.
That's a win as well.
Oops. At Notre Dame at week 7.
So I think this is where it might come. I think this is where their loss might come at Notre Dame week 7.
Okay, so this is their first loss, just for that.
Yeah.
And you're saying
first real team they played on the road against a good defensive coordinator.
We'll see what Utah goes back to back here, but they're at Utah the next week. Home.
Oh,
they're home against Utah. Home against Utah.
Okay. Lincoln Riley has this thing where you might get him once, you might get him twice. You're not getting him 3 times in a row. You're just not doing it. Lincoln Riley doesn't lose games in the row to the same team. Utah's not getting him 3 straight times. It's a win, close win in Salt Lake City at night, I'm sure.
It's a home game, so it's in LA.
Okay, well, then even more ammo in my barrel.
Sorry. At California week 9.
That's a win.
Cool. At home Washington.
Home Washington. Washington's going to test that defense a lot. Washington averaged 39 points last year. Probably going to do the same this year. I think it's a win, though.
Wow, Micaiah's looking strong for the Trojans at Oregon week 12.
They're at Oregon week 12.
They're at Oregon week 12.
I'm going to give them a loss, actually, here. Last week of the season. So only one conference loss still gets them into the conference championship game, but I think that they lose to Oregon last week of the season. But it's a great schedule. It's an okay schedule with a good non-conference as an ND. But if they lose to ND and lose to Washington, they're a very attractive 2-loss team for the college football playoff. But I don't trust that defense enough, as in USC's defense enough, to get enough stops throughout the season.
So is that a win or a loss for Oregon?
It's a loss. It's a win for Oregon, a loss for USC.
I don't know where their bye was in here. There would have had to been UCLA is their last game home. It's the
I see.
El Trafico for college football.
Oh, I see. Well, then that's a win. I think that's a win there.
Okay, that's fair. UCLA is an interesting one to me, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts. We're not going to cover them right now. We're basically what we're doing this year, just to prep you. We're going down the list from last year's ranking, first to worst. Number 2, which surprised me when we talked about it about a month ago at this point, the Washington Huskies, Micaiah.
Yeah. Washington, Kalen DeBoer, he came over from Fresno State. Fresno State, he had a 90% winning percentage. He only lost like 3 games at Fresno. He only lost 2 games last year. The offense, like I said, is humming. It averaged 39 points. They get their quarterback and 2 wide receivers back. Only concern on offense is he's starting 3 new players along that offensive line. Stopping the pass was an issue. They are bringing in Oklahoma State transfer Jabbar Muhammad.
Oklahoma, not
and
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State.
Oh no, it is Oklahoma State. Sorry.
And they are bringing in. They're bringing back some edge rushers as well. They get Oregon and Utah in Seattle. They got a good shot. We're about to run down the list here. So USC went 10-2 there with an out of conference loss.
Correct.
With only one conference loss, they would probably make the Pac-12 championship game. Let's see who that's going to be.
Well, Washington, interesting that you brought up Boise State because that's who they start off against.
I didn't bring up Boise State. I brought up Oklahoma State.
No, you brought up Boise. Isn't that where their head coach was from, who's in their second season, by the way?
Fresno State.
It was another one of those states that doesn't need to be a state sort of situation. For the record, they had, I think, 8 transfers in, 10 transfers in, 8 transfers out. All the coaches are in their second season.
That's not bad.
19 recruits for this year. So they recruited, I would assume, pretty well, too. They start off their season at home against Boise State.
Home against Boise State, I think that's a win. Good game. Boise State kind of mucks things up, but they get a dub.
Cool. They're home against Tulsa.
Tulsa is another win as well.
Cool.
A lot of points there.
Sorry. At Michigan State.
At Michigan, I don't think Michigan State's going to be all that good this year. I think they'll be an
We
okay
are biased,
team.
but yeah, you're right.
We are. I'm a little biased, but out of what I saw last year and that defense still not being fixed, I think Washington gets a dub there.
I apologize. California is the week. Cal's next.
Cal is not a good college football team at all. Not a good football team, period. So Washington gets a win.
At Arizona.
That's another win as well. I think Arizona is going to be mucho improved, but not mucho great. So Washington gets a win.
Oregon.
Oregon, that's at Oregon or at Washington?
At Washington in Husky Stadium.
So this is a big-time rivalry game. Again, is the defense going to be better? Because Oregon's going to score a lot of points, I think. And I think, again, this is kind of the first real test for this team, for these teams out of their non-conference. I think they get a close W at home against Oregon.
Yikes. Arizona State, home.
They get a W there for Arizona State. First-year head coach there in Arizona State.
At Stanford.
At Stanford is a loss.
To Stanford.
Yeah, to Stanford. I don't know. I feel like Stanford always it's this sleepy time game. Stanford's either going to be really mediocre or really bad. Either way, they're gonna upset someone. At that point, Washington hasn't lost a game. Wins over Oregon, Michigan State, and Boise State. They're probably in the top 10, if not top 8 by that point. I think Stanford just gets them at home.
Okay, would it change would it change that opinion if you knew that they were playing USC, which you have them losing to the week after?
No, not really, because
so you back-to-back losses for Washington.
Yeah, because I think they look ahead to USC. They're undefeated, staring USC in the face. We got to get by a mediocre Stanford team.
Yeah,
new head coach and all that. I think it's back-to-back losses.
So what about Utah the following week?
Utah the following week, I think they get back on the board because Utah is good for at least 2 losses on the year. Even the last 2 years they've won the Pac-12 championship, they've had 3 losses. So when the season ends, they've had 3 losses. So I like it. Washington.
At Oregon State.
They get a dub there.
And then home against their rivals, the Fighting Mike Leaches in Washington State.
Mike Leach isn't there anymore, R.I.P. But
yes, I know that.
But I think they get a win in the Apple Cup. You could have said the Apple Cup. That's the rivalry
Well, see,
game.
it's okay. Listen, we respect Mike Leach
So what is that? 10-2 as well,
immensely. Yes, 10-2.
but with 2 conference losses.
Yes, at
Okay.
Stanford, at USC, back-to-back away losses, which is
So we're going in
rough.
order. Yeah.
We're going in order of the 2022 final results for the Pac-12.
So then who's next?
Do you want to guess? Because
Utah.
you should know this. No. You should know this.
Well, how are we going in order, but we haven't done Utah yet? That makes no sense.
It does when you realize that I grabbed this list from ESPN, and ESPN counts their overall results
Oh, and not
as
conference.
as bowl games.
So then number 3 would be Oregon.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's look at the Ducks. Ducks just missed on a chip to the Pac-12 championship in Dan Lanning's first year. All this information is coming from Athlon Sports, by the way, where we got it. Quarterback Bo Nix is back. They got stomped in the Civil War again, which I don't think they call it that anymore for liberal reasons.
Yeah, probably not PC there, bud.
Yeah, but I don't understand. It's a Civil War, state-on-state action. Anyway, quarterback Bo Nix is back. 38, almost 39 points a game. The entire Pac-12 can score a lot of points. A lot of points.
Yes.
Next supporting cast will be at the skill positions. Ranks among one of the best in the conference. 7 starters back on defense. This unit will miss linebacker Noah Sewell and quarterback Christian Gonzalez.
So my question here with Oregon, we're going to pump the brakes here for a hot second as we are smoking through these. I forget who was their offensive coordinator last year.
He is now the head coach at Arizona State.
Got it. So they bring in Will Stein. Will Stein last year was at
Kenny
he was the
Dillingham is his name.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He was the co-offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach for Meet mother effers, the UTSA Roadrunners is who they bring him in
Who
from.
puts up a lot of points.
He played quarterback for the Louisville Cardinals from 2008 to 2009, including 12 games played his senior year. I don't know if you remember him. I surely don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't.
2008 to 2012, sorry.
Okay.
That's when he played. So there you go. So they're bringing him in. It's his first. They're also bringing in Tulane's defensive coordinator to be a co-defensive coordinator and safeties team his name is Chris Hampton. These are these guys' first season. And to be very fair and extremely gracious to Will Stein, this is his first time in the big leagues.
Oh, okay. All right. So, he was at Tulane, but now he's at...
No, he was at UTSA. It was... Chris, defense. Yeah,
okay.
We're moving on. So this is obviously UTSA air raid system, great quarterback receiver combo. There, dude who throws for 5,000 yards in a season, sort of situation.
I think the bigger question is Bo Nix. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bo Nix had all this hype at Auburn.
Yeah.
Freshman year really good and then kind of declined. And then he went to Oregon last year and had a rebirth and was just absolutely fantastic. Halfway through the season, he was in the Heisman talks. Absolutely. Back to back, how much do you, as Ducks fans, me as the avid college sports watcher, college football watcher, how much do we believe in Bo Nix? And I'm about to tell you with this schedule that Simeon's about to, or Cap Admiral, you like that, is about to read to me.
Thanks. Portland State to start off the season.
That is an easy halftime dub.
At Texas Tech. Another fighting Mike Leach's.
Another fighting Mike Leach's. That is also a W.
The Rainbow Warriors of the University of Hawaii, Honolulu.
Yeah, just lots of travel here for Hawaii, going back and forth. I like the Ducks.
You already know this, but Colorado, we already know that's a W. We will get to them.
Yep, we sure will.
At Washington. And hold on, I have you. This is Oregon. I have them beating Oregon.
You have okay, great. Well, then Washington's beating Oregon.
So that's their first L. So we're going 5-1 to start. Then they're playing Washington State.
I think that is a W.
Cool, dope, awesome. At Utah.
At Utah, I think that is an L.
Yeah, I think Utah has always played Oregon really well.
Yep.
It's always been a good game.
And in recent history, they've played Oregon. They just beat them up along the line of scrimmage, and I don't think that changes in Dan Lanning's second year.
California.
They beat up on Cal.
USC, you have them winning, I believe. No, losing. You have them winning. Yeah, no, I was right.
Okay.
I meant the other one. At Arizona State.
That's a win.
And finishing off with Oregon State.
I think that's at home. I think that is also a win.
Now, what did you call this rivalry again? I wanted to fact check that for you.
The Civil War.
The Civil War.
It was called the Civil War at one point in time. I think they now call it something else.
Oregon State football rivalry, formerly known as the Civil War. Yes, till 2020 for obvious. The Oregon Classic state championship game, the Civil War. I don't really want to know. I more want to know why the name changed, but we'll figure that out.
So how many losses is that? Is that 2 for Oregon?
That is 2 for Oregon.
All right, so we have USC. I think every team has 2 losses right now.
Correct.
But USC is the only one with 1 conference loss.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
That's because they're playing Notre Dame, which is not a...
Right. Pac-12. It's a rivalry, but not a Pac-12 school.
Correct. I was just seeing if they had... Oh, that's 2022. Yeah, after dropping behind in front of the empty ducks.com, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't even say why they changed the name. Do not care. We can guess the reasons. Now, Micaiah. It's the Utes of Utah.
Oh, by the way, ESPN just laid off Gene Wojnarowski.
They're breaking NBA guy?
Yeah.
This is what happens when you pay Pat McAfee way too much money.
Well, that's what everyone's saying, but I just don't. Oh no, I'm sorry. Well, he did College Game Day as well. Mostly, he did College Game Day. He was on.
This is Woj?
Yeah, Woj. So he's the NBA insider, but he was also on College Game Day, and they let him go.
All right, we're at 23 minutes, and we're halfway through the Pac-12, so we're going to park this for just 2 seconds and talk about the state of something that we've never talked about before, but it's the state of sports media in the U.S., well, really overall, but mostly in the U.S., because what? You laid off a guy who got you the breaking news.
Yeah, he was Gene Wojnarowski. He was mostly college football. I guess he did a little bit, but he was he was the NFL breaking insider. But he was also
So this is not Woj.
Who am I thinking of?
Gene Wojnarowski. Oh, it's that guy. Okay. Yeah, I know who that guy is. We're thinking of, let me just see, Woj Bomb. We are thinking of Adrian Wojnarowski.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's who we're thinking of. Dude's name Adrian.
But they also laid off David Pollock.
He was another
Game Day. He was a college game. He was the Georgia
that makes
Bulldog.
sense. He wasn't popular. He didn't match the vibe, and they brought in Pat McAfee to replace David Pollock. I could have called that.
Wow, but yet they let Lee Corso just dangle out there. Lee Corso, I mean, they need to let him go.
They need to put him out to pasture for his own sake, not.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Here's your issue that you're running into, Micaiah. And let me explain this as someone who's worked for one of these old-fashioned type companies. We think of ESPN as cutting edge, right?
Yeah.
But they're really not. They were still founded in, I think it was the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. They're a media company with media people running them. They're not this newfangled company that is adaptable and agile with their strategies and specifically with their culture that they're running into. So what you're running into is still an old school, old boys club style company. And so they have, Lee's been with us since day one, so we have to take care of Lee. Even though the dude has, like, only Joe Biden speaks worse than Lee Corso, and even that is pretty dang close.
Or that Pennsylvania, what is he, Pennsylvania senator or whatever?
I think he's a senator now. John Fetterman.
Yeah,
Fetterman?
John Fetterman. Yeah, he had a stroke. Yeah, I mean, it's not good.
Dude who always who looks like Bill Belichick at every single event that he does.
It's also Gene Wojciechowski, not Warjakowski.
Dude.
It's very close. They are spelled
He's an iconic
differently.
voice. He's one of the iconic voices.
And
you would
he
know
took
him if you
over
heard his
for Tom
voice.
Rinaldi to tell all the sad stories on game day. You know how game day always has that one sad story that makes you cry. Every grown man cry. Every grown man has cried at the college game day. So they let him go. Which it's really weird to me that ESPN is firing all of their college game day on air talent, or some of them. Because I would have to assume that ESPN College Game Day is a majority of their profit chunk.
Yes, except they're putting all of their eggs into a basket of a dude from Pittsburgh whose first name is Patrick.
But 6 years, $85 million. That's not that much money.
That is when that's like one of your operating, like...
But
half of your operating income.
He's bringing in his audience, right?
Yes, no. I'm joking from the perspective of it's his operating income. I'm more saying from the perspective of, like, they are expecting Pat Mac. You will watch it. Week 0, college game day, will be Reese Davis talking to Kirk Herbstreit.
There you go.
Pat McAfee. It'll be
and
Pat
Desmond
McAfee
Howard.
And Desmond Howard, and it will be Pat McAfee jumping into lakes again, acting the fool. You might even see, instead of Bear, one of Pat's dudes off to the side.
Well, Bear's gone. Bear went to Fox Sports last year.
Yeah, so there you go. This is what's happening. What you are seeing is ESPN going, I need to make room for this salary. I'm putting all my eggs, not thinking big picture, saying, oh, what we can do is we can make Pat McAfee happen. We landed the whale, so now let's ride him until we either die and go out of business and get bought by somebody else because Disney doesn't want to keep funding us. Which, mind you, is the only way ESPN is still in business is because they're getting Daddy Walt's money that Disney Parks and the Avengers is making.
Yeah, I get it. All right, let's pick back up where we left off.
I can tell you got bored. I was like,
well,
this is my thing. You can't give this to me.
Well, my ass is really starting to hurt, so I need to pick up the pace because I'm.
Do you want to go get your ass pillow?
Really hurting. No, it's all the way out in the car.
Well, that sounds like a you problem. You should have remembered your.
Well, you should have started at 6:30.
I did. I was.
No, you didn't.
I was here at 6:30.
You were here at 6:30. You didn't start until 6:45.
Okay, well, I'm sorry that I had to produce our show, okay? Micaiah, Utah.
All right, so Utah's quarterback Cameron Rising is back for another year. However, he's going to recover from a torn ACL that he incurred in the Rose Bowl. So if you go, it's about a year recovery. So is he even going to play for Utah this year? I don't know. The Utes have won back-to-back Pac-12 titles. And could make it 3 in a row if Rising quickly returns. I didn't know Rising was out until I read this. So they're returning 3 starters along the offensive line. Rising star Jaquindon Jackson aims to pick up where he left off in 2022. He accounted for 531 yards. As the number 1 running back. They are returning tight end Brant Kuthi after missing all of 22. Defense will rank near the top. They've replaced cornerback Clark Phillips. We're going to have to see how this goes. They also get a tough non-conference in Florida and Baylor.
Well, you started that off really, really well and talking about probably what needs to be talked about. Cameron Rising being questionable is not a helpful. I'm sure he's a team leader in the locker room and everything that he brings to the table for that team. But we are talking about one of probably, if not the most seasoned coaching rooms in the Pac-12. 19 years. This is his 19th season for Kyle Whittingham. Andy Ludwig is his 9th season as the offensive coordinator, and the defensive coordinator is in his 8th season. So these guys have been around the block, and they beat up on the Golden Boys at the University of Southern California last year, not once, but twice. And the quarterback room is plenty deep, so who can step up? Especially week 1, which is either, this is interesting, I didn't see this, August 31st or September 2nd, according to CBS Sports, Florida. I'm assuming that's a neutral site game.
Well, it's going to be August 31st. That's already been determined. No, it's not. I think it's at Utah.
It's in the swamp?
No, it's at Utah. It was in the swamp last year, so I would assume it's a home and home. So it's in Salt Lake City. So I think that is
at Utah in Salt Lake City.
Yeah,
you are
so
correct.
that's a win for Utah. And I think when I did Florida's schedule, or we haven't done the SEC yet. But anyway, I'm going to give Florida the win. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to give Utah the win. Utah should have won last year, and then Anthony Richardson put on his cape for about a quarter and a half and gutsed out a win.
They're at Baylor the previous week. I don't remember what you gave them when we did Baylor.
I think that I'm giving... Okay,
They're
so now
Baylor.
I have to rethink things because I don't know if Cameron Rising is going to be back. I think that they beat Florida, but I think that they lose to Baylor if Cameron Rising isn't playing.
Yeah, does it say when he's set to return? Do we need to do some Googling here? Cameron Rising returning. Following decision to return, shares will be back on Monday. Quarterback, ACL. Hold on.
I think
underwent surgery. Here's a February 12th article. So if it's February that he underwent surgery, it's what, 6 months for recovery for an ACL?
It's like 9. 6 months if you're Adrian Peterson.
That's what I'm remembering. So it's 9 months. February puts him the second month in November. So they're clearly expecting that to be an accelerated recovery.
So let's just... I don't think he's going to be back for the first 6 weeks. Let's just assume 6 weeks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume 6 weeks. I'm going to assume he's going to have a great recovery and he'll be back middle of October.
April, May, June, July, August. So August would be 6 months.
Yeah.
My guess is they're hoping for a 6 months recovery.
September would be 7th, and halfway through October would be almost 8. So he is a kid at 22 years old still. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to assume he's going to be out for the first 6 weeks.
Okay.
He's going to be back middle of October, and that's what's going to do this. So I think that they still great defense. They get Florida at home, who doesn't have Anthony Richardson. They beat Florida at home. They lose to Baylor on the road. Continue.
Okay, Weber State.
That's a win.
I put an asterisk on our notes. UCLA.
I think UCLA is a loss.
At Oregon State.
At Oregon. And so we're now through. October.
This is week 5, according to me. Now, I don't know when their bye week is, but yes.
Yeah. It's at Oregon State. Without Cameron Rising, I think it's a loss.
California, July 20. This would be October 6th. Would be their bye week is after Oregon State.
Okay, so maybe Cameron's back by then. Either way, they're beating Cal. I don't think Cal's going to be very good.
So they're losing to Oregon State. Possibly Cameron Rising comes back at California, according to Micaiah's unmedical opinion.
Right.
Then you have them beating or losing to USC.
Okay.
In the regular season.
Yeah.
Oregon, you have them losing to as well.
Oh, okay.
Arizona State.
I think they beat Arizona State.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oregon, you have them winning against Oregon. I was reading Washington, who you have them losing to.
Okay.
You have them beating Oregon. I apologize.
They're 5-5 right now.
No. You have you have them beating Arizona State.
Yeah.
No, they're still one loss less.
Okay.
At Arizona after the loss to Washington.
That's a win.
Colorado.
That's a win.
Okay, we'll have discussions. So you have them with 4 losses. So you have them 8-4.
I mean, I mean, everyone who listens to this, but what would you like me to do? I think they're better than an 8-4 team, but if their starting quarterback isn't in,
the title of this clip will be Utah is an asterisk, because we don't know without digging in deep or DMing the dude, which we could do.
Right. And
hey, Cameron, for our podcast, does it look like you're going to be 6 months, or is it going to be closer to the 9 months that we tell people?
Because
now, to be fair, this dude was physically fit. I get Adrian Peterson's different. He's a professional. He's also a freak. But this dude is physically fit. He's not these 40-year-olds that you're rolling in every day into surgery with torn ACLs.
No, and I do understand that. Their running game's going to be pretty good. When Cameron Rising wasn't there, they were 2-3. And then 2 years ago, and then they gave Cameron Rising the job, and they ripped off all of these wins, made it to the Pac-12 championship game, won that, made it to the Rose Bowl against Ohio State, and lost. And so what I'm saying is 4 losses without Cameron Rising is probably feasible. Now, if he comes back sooner, or if the ball bounces a different way against Baylor or Oregon State, yeah, okay. But I think Oregon State's going to be really good second season. I just don't think Utah falls apart. 8-4 is very good for Utah. Utah should be very happy about that without their starting quarterback.
I think, again, it's a giant asterisk, and we'll have to figure out when Cameron Rising pops back up. Speaking of Oregon State, that's next. They were 6-3 in the conference last year, 10-3 in the conference, 10-3 overall. Again, the big news for Oregon State, they got DJ
Nope.
Say it.
Ungalale.
Thank you.
Yep.
From Clemson after a lackluster 2022 season from him there. Micaiah, obviously, what do they say, and do you think the change of scenery is going to be enough for him to overcome what he needs to overcome?
DJ is a passer. He wants to throw the ball. He doesn't want to have to run the ball himself, and he's not going to have to do that. Oregon State wants to run the ball. They're going to have one of the best offensive lines in all of college football. They have Damian Martinez back anchoring a backfield. Coordinator Trent Bray brought market improved to Oregon State's defense. They allowed 20 points a game last year. Unit needs next wave of reinforcements, with linebacker Omar Spates transferring to LSU and secondary replacing 3 key members. So I think they're going to be really good, but in an offense that runs the ball a lot, that's going to take a lot of the pressure off the defense if they can get ahead. DJ is going to have a lot of play-action passes. We're going to have to see if he can hit it.
Yeah, that's fair. They do not have to play USC. Sorry, don't know where I'm going with that. If that's a good thing or not, we'll find out. They start their season at San Jose State.
And then that's a win.
Then they go to UC Davis.
That's a win as well.
All right, hold on. We got to find it. There we go. And then they're home against San Diego State.
That's a win.
Is that Fighting Brady Hoax?
That's the Fighting Brady Hoax.
Who
won out
win.
of the Pac-12 who won out of the Mountain West Conference, but no conference once then. So, wait a me.
You have them beating Utah.
Yep. So that's 5-0.
And then
4-0.
they're at California.
That's a win. I don't think Cal's very good. I've said that.
UCLA Week 7 home.
Week 7, so they're 6-0. They're at home. I think they beat UCLA.
At Arizona.
That's a win as well.
You obviously already think they're beating Colorado. Stanford.
Yep, beating Stanford.
Then you have them losing to Washington and Oregon, dropping their last 2 of the season. That puts them another team at 10-2. Pac-12, 10-2. Title of the podcast?
Title of the podcast, Pac-12, 10-2. Mark it up.
Not to be weird, but like that is the vibe with the Pac-12. Is like we're good enough to be here, but not good enough to win anything. That's the title of the podcast.
Yeah, good enough. Pac-12, good enough to be here, not good enough to win anything.
I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. And last year proved it. Had a whole bunch of teams at 10-2. I think when this expands to 12 teams, we'll have a much better argument. But by that point, they're 2 big dogs gone. Maybe 2 other big dogs, Oregon, Washington, gone. Colorado might be gone. Utah, gone. I mean, the conference might not exist in 2 years.
Yeah.
They don't have a TV deal. Talked about that yesterday. 4th One podcast posted about that. Big 12 just got a new media rights deal. $2.3 billion. And the Pac-12 might have to look at Amazon Prime or airing every game on the Pac-12 network. So, I don't know. I marked a clip about a minute and a half ago into that, so you can clip that up if you want.
I appreciate it. This is an interesting one because I didn't realize I have this. We obviously did this. They don't have an offensive coordinator listed for them. I'm sure they have one.
I think their head coach is a big offensive guy. So
yeah, that's definitely who he does. And I'm pretty sure he calls the plays too. Anyway,
he might. I'm not.
If
exactly
not,
sure.
he calls the plays to someone else, and then they call the plays, sort of situation. Okay, UCLA. D'Anton Lynn was the Baltimore Ravens safety coach last season. This is his first year under a mediocre UCLA. However, it is Chip Kelly's 6th season as the head coach back in Southern California.
Won 9 games last year. Highest victory total since 14. They need to go for them to go beyond. They're going to have to transition an offense that loses 5th-year senior Dorian Thompson-Robinson to the NFL. True freshman Dante Moore is a front runner to replace DTR at quarterback. He flipped from Oregon to UCLA.
Oh wow!
So he's a big 5-star kind of guy. Ball State transfer Carson Steele is to help fill the hole left by Zach Charbonnet at the running back position. Kelly also has holes to plug along the offensive line. UCLA allowed 29 points per game last season. New play caller D'Anton Lynn does inherit a solid foundation. 8 returning starters. So defense has got to be better. For the Bruins, was last year Chip Kelly's best. It was his best season, but he also, all of his players were adult and grown, and were grown men.
He went 6-3 in the conference last year, 9-4 overall, which means he lost his bowl game.
Yep.
Never looks good. I don't think. Does it look good to you when people lose bowl games?
Nah, depending on how you finish the season, like it never looks like Michigan. Like you got to win your bowl game. Like if you're that, but if you're also a team, like those years that Michigan would win every game, and then it would be Ohio State, and then they would get trampled by Ohio State. I just knew they were losing their bowl game because they lost the one game they were trying to win. So bowl games don't mean too much anymore. Yes, it looks good. Does it look bad? Maybe.
Well, we'll find out how the rest of it. They start off the season with a much weaker Coastal Carolina team at home.
And they get that win.
Yeah. Then they're on to the Fighting Brady Hoax.
And they get that win.
Then they play the powerhouse of a college that is North Carolina Central.
That is a win.
You have them beating Utah. Wait, no. Yes, you have them beating Utah.
Okay, so they're 5-0. Great job.
And then they play Washington State.
And then they lose to Washington State.
Then they lose to Oregon State the next week.
Yep.
At Stanford the week following.
And they're going to beat Stanford, I think.
Colorado, you have them winning. I already know that. At Arizona.
At Arizona, I think they're going to lose to Arizona because it's a Chip Kelly thing to do.
So they're going to hold up. Previewing.
No, Arizona's better than Colorado.
No.
Nope.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep. Arizona's better
you
than...
take that back.
I won't. Arizona's going to be better than Colorado.
Why are we related?
I don't know. Because you're wrong.
You legitimately think that you are being so stubborn right now.
I'm not being stubborn. I'm being realistic. He has half of a team.
He does not.
He does.
You just don't like it because he came in and told a bunch of kids to leave.
He came in, told a bunch. That's not what I have a problem with. It's the fact that he's so naive that he thinks he can tell all of these kids to leave.
It's not like every single player transferred out and he brought in a full new...
And I'm not saying that every player that transferred out didn't need to go because they were bad for the culture. But what I'm saying, the culture that he's trying to do at Colorado isn't going to fly. It's just not going to work.
You just don't think it's going to work the first year. You don't actually, let me rephrase that. You don't think it's going to work at all.
I don't know if at all. I'll have to see how this season goes. If he's 5-7, is exactly where I think he should be. If he goes 8-4, he's falling flat on his face.
If he goes 8-4, he's falling. Okay,
yes.
we'll hold it.
Okay,
we'll hold it.
All right.
UCLA, Arizona State.
They get a win there.
Okay, you have them losing to USC.
Okay,
and then they finish with California.
And they beat California. So how many losses?
4 losses all in conference.
So in 9-4, not bad. 8-4.
Yes, there you go.
8-4, not bad with the true freshman quarterback. Could be better, probably not. 8-4, not bad for UCLA to go into the Big Ten. It's just not. Okay, moving on. I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait for this.
It's gonna be good. All right, Washington State. New offensive coordinator in Ben Arbuckle, great last name in my opinion. He was previously the co-offensive coordinator and quarterback coach for the air raid system in the west of Kentucky. Those good old Hilltoppers.
Yeah.
And this is Jeff. Also, this is Jeff Shinmedine. I don't know. New first defensive coordinators as well. And this is Jake Dickert's third season as the head coach.
Second full season at the helm. Some things went on with the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, he was fired, but then he wasn't.
So Cameron Ward coming back, threw for 3,200 yards, 23 touchdowns last season. However, they got to rebuild the offensive line. They brought in some junior college help on defense, but they finished third in fewest points allowed with 23 points per game. New starters must emerge at linebacker, but the unit returns one of the conference's top edge duos in Brandon Jackson and Ron Stone Jr. Washington State, I said hit the over at 5.5 last year wins. I think they got me 6. Let's see.
It was your big thing. It was one of your big 3 starts to the season. And they start the season, dear Lord, at Colorado State.
At Colorado State, I think that's a win.
Wisconsin. At least they do something. Home.
Wisconsin at home, I think, is a loss. I really like Wisconsin this year. I really do.
Interesting. I think Luke Fickell's going to do good stuff. Northern Colorado
Is a win.
without any McCaffreys, for the record.
It is a win.
Just in case you were wondering.
I
did
wasn't,
look that up
but
the other day.
I know what you're talking about, and I love it.
Oregon State, you have them losing to.
Yep.
UCLA, you have them beating. Arizona, who you think is better than Colorado.
Arizona, I think, gets Washington State.
You have them losing to Arizona. At Oregon, I believe you have them losing to. Hold on. Nope, you have them beating. You have them you have them losing to. I was right. I say things backwards. Arizona State.
They beat Arizona State.
Okay. Stanford.
I think that they at or away.
Home.
They mess around and they beat Stanford.
Okay. At Cal.
At Cal, they beat Cal.
And then I'm assuming you have them beat Colorado?
Yes, I have them beat Colorado.
And then in-state rival Washington, you have them losing to.
Yes. So what is that? I lost track.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses.
Okay, so 7-5. An improvement on last year. Washington State has never been a powerhouse, ladies and gentlemen. Even under Mike Leach, they were good for minimum 3 losses on the year. Probably going to be 5-ish. It's great. It's a great school in the middle of nowhere. I like it a lot. Washington State 7-5.
My understanding is the very beautiful middle of nowhere for the record as well.
Right on the border of Montana.
Idaho. But, yep, you're good.
Sure, whatever.
Arizona, the team you think is better than Colorado somehow.
Here's the thing. They are at where Colorado... Look, this is the blueprint. Do you have Athlon Sports open?
I can get it
No,
open.
no, don't open it. Let me read this to you and let me know and tell me who this sounds like or who I'm predicting this sounds like. The Wildcats improved from 1-11 under Jed Fish, used to be Michigan's quarterback coach, in 21 to 5-7 last year. Another step forward this fall were to be Arizona's first bowl game since 2017. Though top receivers Jacob Singer transferred to USC, that sucks for them. The offense should be prolific with quarterback Jalen DeLuca and receivers Jacob Cohen and I'm not even going to try that name. McMillan returning. Defensive improvements likely to decide whether or not Arizona gets 6 or more wins in a unit that allowed 36.5 points last season. A couple transfers should help instantly. Return only 3 starters on that side of the ball. So, Simeon, who am I predicting that sounds like?
Okay, so here's the issue that I'm having, okay? Okay, Colorado. I'll answer your question. Colorado.
Okay. All right. Answer my question.
Colorado.
Okay.
You're predicting sounds like Colorado, right?
Yeah. Athlon Sports, by the way, has Colorado finishing 11th.
Out of
12
11.
teams.
12. Yeah. Now, okay, listen. I just think the Pac-12's worse than you do.
I don't know.
To be
how
fair, you watch them more than I do.
But I don't know how you keep saying that when last year they literally had all these 10-2 teams, all of them. They had like 4 or 5.
But I don't have I don't have them beating any of those 10-2 teams. Actually, I have them beating one of the 5 10-2 teams. Just because if you flip a coin 5 times, one of the times it's at least going to land on heads. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. All right, let's move along because we got some time to go yet before we get to Colorado.
Arizona State. Northern Arizona is who they started
That
the year
is a
off
win
with.
for Arizona.
At Mississippi State.
That's a win. I don't like who Mississippi State replaced Mike Leach with, so that's a win for Arizona.
UTEP.
UTEP's a win. That's 3-0.
That's a UTEP's now in the American, I want to say? I thought
Conference
they changed
USA?
conference. Yeah, I think so. I'll look it up here in a second.
Okay.
At Stanford.
At Stanford. I think that is a loss.
Interesting. Washington, you have them losing to.
Yeah.
USC, I don't even need to look. You have them losing to.
Yes.
Washington State, you have them beating.
Okay.
Oregon State, you have them. This is Arizona we're talking about, losing to.
Okay.
UCLA, you have them.
Beating.
Beating?
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
You
I
have them beating UCLA.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You obviously have them beating Colorado.
Uh-huh.
And then you have them, I believe, losing to Utah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the rivalry game, Arizona State.
I think that they beat Arizona State. So is that 7-5 or 6-6?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6-6.
Nope, 5.
Okay, so 7-5, up from 5-7. Not bad. I like that a lot, dude. I'm cooking right now.
I think flip-flop the Mississippi State and like Oregon State or Washington or you had them beat UCLA, like that sort of thing. I don't think it. I don't hate it for Arizona.
Yeah.
I literally, most likely, we're going to agree, and we have. You know, besides maybe USC not completely crapping the bed like Lincoln Riley does against Notre Dame, that's about it.
Okay.
But, like, that's just more probability. So we're going to go to the Golden Bears, the golf cart riding, the punt returning California Golden Bears. Yeah. I don't know what I don't know how they're still school, let alone.
Yeah, I mean academics, I guess. They got 10 starters back. They should take a step forward on defense after giving up 28 points a game last season. Getting back to 6 or more wins and climbing in the top half of the Pac-12 will hinge on how their offense develops under new play caller Jake TCU transfer Sam Jackson the fifth.
That's a lot of
Sam Jacksons. Is expected to start at quarterback. The skill talent is in good shape with Jeremiah Hunter back at receiver and Jaden Ott returning at running back. However, the additions to breaking in a new scheme and first-time start at quarterback leave the Golden Bears have a very major concerns up front. Go ahead.
What was Johnny Manziel? When did he play college football?
2013 to 2015, I think.
Do you know who his offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach was?
Yeah, it was, for his Heisman year, it was Cliff Kingsbury. For everybody else, I don't know.
If you're right about when Johnny Manziel played, you're incorrect about that fun fact. It was Jake Spivital, who is California's newest, returning for the 2016. He was the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, but returning for the quarterback coach and offensive coordinator. They start out playing. Oh, he was Texas State's head coach last year and for the past 3 years. Pretty good team at Texas State, if I do remember correctly. They're starting at Northern Texas.
And they win that.
Okay. Then they're going to Auburn.
They're going to lose that.
Then they're going to Idaho.
Then they win that.
Is Idaho? Was that the one who moved down from FBS to FCS?
You keep saying that. I don't ever think that move happened.
Maybe they were planning on it, and then it didn't happen. It might have been one of those COVID things that didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
Washington, you have them losing to. Are we surprised?
No.
Arizona
State is a win.
Interesting. Oregon State, I don't remember what you have here. I'm pretty sure you have them.
Yep, losing.
Utah, I'm sure you have them losing. Yeah. USC.
Losing.
Oregon.
I have them losing again.
Yep. Washington State.
Losing.
I'm just making sure I'm seeing a lot of green. Yep. Stanford.
Losing.
And last but not least, you have them losing to UCLA.
Yeah, I got them at 3-9. I don't know how Justin Wilcox still has a job. Is it because no one can win at Cal, so Cal's just like, we're here for the academic portion?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then that explains that.
It's the same reason why Stanford hasn't fired their head coach that they hired like 4 seasons ago.
Stanford did fire their head coach.
See, I was
They brought in
thinking
the
that was a
Sacramento
different coach.
State
Yeah,
head
state
coach.
head coach. That's right. I guess Stanford thinks they should have a better football team than they do.
Well, I mean,
Speaking,
okay, okay. Stanford had a few good years under Harbaugh and under David Shaw. California's never been good, ever.
yeah, even when they had Marshawn Lynch
And Deshaun Jackson. Yes.
Deshaun Jackson.
He's
Yeah.
never been good.
Okay, Arizona State. I actually completely forgot to pull them up. This is a team that has been through some stuff.
Yeah, so they're still pending a lot of potential NCAA violations for hosting recruits during COVID.
Is that why what's his face was fired?
Yeah, and he just horrifically underperformed. So
Well, I remember him underperforming. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you again.
Yeah.
I remember him underperforming, and he was fired incorrectly and took it like a champ, is what I'm remembering.
No, he was fired correctly because of the violation.
He was fired on the field after a game.
Oh, yeah. He was literally the AD literally walked up to him and was like, "You're done," as he's walking off the field, and he just continued to wave at fans. Yes, indeed.
He was like, "Okay, yep, all right, that's fine."
So Kenny Dillingham is coming over from Oregon to replace Herm Edwards. He's 33 years old. It's going to take him time. Over 30 transfers are set to join this roster. This is a Colorado-esque maneuver. They went 3-9 last fall. Notre Dame transfer Drew Pine will battle Trenton Burgess, and potentially true freshman Jaden Rashada. That's a top transfer. That's a top guy. 100% Jaden Rashada is the top guy. For starting quarterback, tight end Jalen Conyers and receiver Elijah Badger are back to anchor receiving core, while Sacramento State transfer Cameron Skattebo, 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 could take the lead role at running back. Major overhaul is coming up front with 4 new starters. Dillingham has plenty of concerns with a defense that allowed 31 points per game, a.k.a. Arizona State will not be good this year. Clip it, book it, write it in pen in a book.
Oh, Jaden Rashada, he was from Pittsburgh, California, that is.
Yeah.
Not to get confused at all. Yes, he was a 4-star recruit from Pittsburgh High School.
Okay, great. Well, let's get into all their losses, shall we?
I had to find him. However, they got Drew Payne from Notre Dame.
Yeah, I said that during my
Okay,
reading.
wasn't sure if they did
we
that.
don't listen to each other. It's fine.
Yeah, no, well, prepping. Do you remember when Eastern Washington was good? I promise this will loop back around.
Yeah, with Cooper Kupp and that quarterback who was like 5'8", and then he
sure,
transferred to
that one.
Oregon for a year.
Do you know who
They
their
were
coach
playing
was?
Michigan State, and I got drunk on Red's Apple Ale. That was good times. Good memories. Good times.
What was that, like 2 Reds Apple Air at 5%?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Their coach was, I'm assuming here, their coach was Bo Baldwin. He is Arizona State's new offensive coordinator. He was previously at Cal Poly. He was 8 years head coach at Eastern Washington. He has a 99-56 record with a 2-1 in the NCAA FCS playoffs. He's won 5 Big Sky championships, and he was NCAA Division I champions. Oh, that would be the FCS in 2010 with Eastern Washington. So they brought in a dude to try to do something.
They brought in a winner.
Try to do something.
Yeah.
Like I said, whether or not he'll actually do it, we'll see. They start off the year at Southern Utah.
I think that they beat Southern Utah.
When you start like that, Oklahoma State.
I think they lose to Oklahoma State.
Yeah. Fresno State.
I think they lose to Fresno State.
Yikes. You have them losing to USC.
Yeah.
You have them losing to California. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you have them losing to Colorado.
No.
You have them beating Colorado.
No.
That was facetious.
No. They're losing to Colorado.
Oh, you do actually have them losing to Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado is going to beat them. Colorado has to beat somebody.
Well, not according to you. At Washington. I believe you have them. I'm just going to assume you have them.
Yeah.
You have them losing to Washington.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the same thing for. Hold on. I'm looking at where you have Arizona. Who you have them for Arizona. Do you have them losing to Arizona or not?
Yeah. I do have them losing to Arizona. I'll answer that question
so that
now.
you have them winning their first game and losing the rest of them. I will double check that, but I am 97% sure that is
so
the
they're
case.
1-11.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't not surprise me.
You understand that means that they are regressing.
No. Just because you go from 3-9 to 1-11 doesn't mean you're regressing. Because you're getting an all-new coaching staff. 33-year old head coach. Simeon, what did I say was most important? What did I say I wanted to know? Transfers in, they're getting 30 in. That's a brand new culture you're building with a brand new head coach at 33 years old. That's 4 years older than me. And you expect me to lead men? Bunch of 18 years old? Anyway,
you do, technically.
you do have a good veteran offensive coordinator and veteran defensive coordinator, as you said, but I'm not seeing it. They might sneak a win here and there against someone, but I mean, it's going to go from 10-2 to a whole bunch of 3-9s. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, the 10-2s have to be beating someone, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Stanford. Again, new head coach from San Diego University, not San Diego State, and Troy Taylor. He brings along most likely Bobby Apple, who is his first season. Troy Taylor will be doing the play calling.
Well, I think
he actually
Troy
does not
Taylor's
bring along...
from Sacramento State, but okay.
I was... You know what just happened? You're going to find this funny.
Okay.
You're going to find this really funny.
What just happened?
Where did Jim Harbaugh coach before?
Yeah, San
he moved
Diego.
So that's what just happened. I got him and Harbaugh mixed up. He's moving from a very good Sacramento State team. Bobby April, not Apple, Bobby April was Wisconsin's outside linebacker coach.
Going to have a good defense.
From 2018 to 20. Before that, he was basically in the NFL under different, defensive stuff coaching.
So Troy Taylor coming in, only 6 starters coming back, including significant concerns on both sides of the ball, including quarterback, offensive line, and overall defensive performance. Yikes. Stanford's defense allowed 36 points per game in PAC12 and struggled minorly against the run, allowing 225 yards per game. Does have a few bright spots to build around, including tight end Benjamin Jurochek and running back, son of former Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith, E.J. Smith. So
wasn't he not a half bad recruit coming out, if I'm remembering correctly?
I think so. Yeah. So here,
clearly a smart kid too.
Yeah, really smart. He committed somewhere else and then transferred in. I think
that wasn't it USC?
I want to say Florida, maybe. I don't know.
We'll look at. No, we won't. I don't care that much. They start the season at Hawaii.
I think they beat Hawaii.
Then they're at USC. They're losing that game. We already know that. Then they're playing, yikes, Sacramento State. That's awkward after the breakup.
That's a W, though. A dub.
Arizona, you have them winning. You have them beating Arizona.
All right, 3-1.
Losing to Oregon.
Yeah, here it comes.
Losing to UCLA.
There we go.
Losing to Washington. Losing to Washington State.
Yeah.
Losing to Oregon State.
Yep.
Losing to California?
Yeah.
No, you have them beating California.
I have them beating California.
Hold on. I'm making sure this is correct. Against Stanford, you have them beating California.
Okay.
And why are you playing this team? Notre Dame.
Oh, it's a rival, but they're going to lose to Notre Dame.
Well, duh. I think Notre Dame's going to be a lot better than we think they're going to be. There's missing one game, right?
Yep.
Yeah, hold on. I have to pull it back down here. No, they're playing a short season? Or did I miss Oregon, UCLA, Washington State, Oregon State, California, Notre Dame.
Count off
Hawaii.
the games.
Huh?
Count off the games.
Hawaii.
Yep.
USC.
Yep.
Sacramento State.
Yep.
Arizona.
Yep.
Oregon.
Yep.
Colorado is who we're missing.
I think Colorado gets them. So I think they're 4-8 on this season, but I think that they're not getting drilled in the arse all the time. All right, so here's the thing with Colorado. I'm just going to jump right in because we all know this. Okay, so we've talked about Colorado enough. Lots of transfers out, lots of transfers in. Right now they only have like 40 scholarship players, I think. 80 maybe. They gave up 45 points per game. They're bringing in a bunch of Jackson State guys, including both of his sons, Shadur Sanders at cornerback or quarterback, and his son, his other son, who's a safety. Travis Hunter plays wide receiver and cornerback. I think he's going to end up playing wide receiver just because of they're going to have to
need.
Yeah, just because of need. They do have a Houston transfer in Alton McCastrill the fourth coming in to play running back, and then former Kent State head coach Sean Lewis will be calling the plays. They're going to score a lot of points, but they're going to give up a lot of points a game, right? Probably around 30, 33 a game. So, here's is if they're going to be good.
For every player that they put out,
yeah,
they brought in, just so you know.
Okay, so they, again, but that's what, 40 guys?
Yeah. Probably more than that,
okay.
It looks like.
So, I predicted they would go 5-7. Simeon, let's run through their schedule and see if I'm right, because they're the last team we've done. So we've got all of their conference games worked out already. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. And then we can talk about it. Yeah.
All right, we'll have to do some comparing here real quick. But they start off at TCU.
Okay.
I think we said that was a loss.
No, I've been telling everyone forever. This is
right,
a
you
win.
have been.
They're walking into Fort Worth, and they're winning in Fort Worth.
Sorry, I'm pulling it up. Nebraska,
they are they're going to lose to Nebraska.
Colorado State.
They're going to beat Colorado State.
At Oregon.
They're getting shellacked by Oregon.
Home against USC.
So they're 2-2, and then this game's going to be at night, and USC's going to embarrass them in prime time.
At Arizona State. You have them beating Arizona State.
I have them beat Colorado beating Arizona State. Great.
I am confirming that. Yeah. Okay, Stanford.
They're going to beat Stanford.
They are going to beat Stanford. At UCLA.
They're going to lose to UCLA.
Okay. Now this is where I have to make sure I'm adjusting things. Oregon State.
Losing to Oregon State.
Okay. Arizona.
They're losing to Arizona. I have that.
Washington State.
They're losing to Washington State, I said.
And Utah. They're losing to Utah. I know that answer. Is that 5-7?
I didn't even try that. So they're actually going to start pretty good with 5-2. So if they get a few bounces, especially against Washington State, Stanford, teams like that, there's a possibility for 7 or 8 wins, but I doubt it.
Yeah, So here's what I have. Let me walk you through them.
Okay, all right.
Just so we have that.
All right.
So they win or lose to TCU.
Okay.
Basically, they split the first 2 games, is what I have.
Okay.
Either losing to TCU, winning against Nebraska, vice versa. Colorado State, W. Oregon, loss. USC, loss. Arizona State, win. Stanford, win. UCLA, again, I have them splitting either UCLA or Oregon State.
Okay.
And then beating Arizona, beating Washington State. You might have changed my mind on that one. And losing to Utah. I just don't think Arizona is as good as you think that they are.
Okay, that's fair.
They've been in the basement for too long. They should have come out by now.
Well, you can't force someone to come out of the basement.
Yeah, I know you can't force someone to come out of the basement. I don't think, for the record, me and you have had this argument. I do not think they are the worst team. the
No.
best team. I don't think it's going to
okay,
be a night and day, worst to first. But I sure as hell think they're going to go to a ball game this year.
I really don't. I think it's going to be a market improvement, and I don't think they're going to be the worst team, but I don't think that they're going to be. I think they're going to be mediocre. After 1-11, bringing in a brand new culture, and all I'm saying is, Simeon, if he goes 8-4, right?
Yeah.
He's going to fall at Colorado. He either then is going to wait for Mike Norvell at Florida State to get fired if Mike Norvell doesn't do what I think Mike Norvell's going to do this year.
Yeah.
And then he's going to bolt there if he goes like 8-4, 7-5, whatever you predicted. He's going to bolt for his alma mater, Florida State, and can't take his kids. But if he goes 8-4, he's going to have to move to another conference because that conference is not going to exist.
Yeah. You think that's an issue?
I do because he's then going from a big fish in a big pond to a medium-sized fish in a bigger pond because he's either going to the Big 12, the Big 10, or the SEC.
So you think the issue is not Oregon and him at Colorado? You think it's Colorado in a different?
I think it's just the school of Colorado in general. The school
I mean,
at Colorado can't pay his salary. So he's going to fall flat on his face just by existing at Colorado because Colorado is not going to be a powerhouse.
So it was the largest spring game attendance in if you. So here's the issue: they open up the season 2-5 is what you have them at. Well, we both actually have them at 2-5 opening up the season.
5-2.
Sorry. No, 2-3 is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Opening the season. Okay. Those first 5 games are very important, especially those first, because first game attendance, whatever. Second game, awesome. Third game, 3 of those games are at home, and we only have them winning 1. I have them possibly winning 2. That is a huge deal, and to use your argument that you're bringing up, and this is the only reason I am bringing it up, is if he is somehow able to beat Nebraska at home and and look like he can fight against USC at home, that will do wonders, because if Colorado can move, like you said, that means they can get money, that means they can pay him. Do I think he wants to stay there for the rest of his career if he's somehow the next coming of Bill Belichick? No. But I also don't think he's as bad as people give him credit for.
Also, health concerns right now. So he
didn't
suffers
he have some health scares?
He suffers from blood clots. Already lost a few toes. Now he might lose his entire foot or his entire leg. Up in thin air of Colorado.
Maybe it's bionic prime.
I've been watching. Yeah, I've been watching college football for a long time. Something about this situation just screams to me it's not gonna work long term for one reason or another. Yeah. Whether he leaves because health, or he's not good, or he's very good and then he leaves. I just think that Colorado's going to be in worse shape when he leaves than when he got there.
That I don't necessarily agree with, but it doesn't really matter, because this has been the 4th and 1 podcast. Because at the end of the day, it's amateur sports, and we just make things up as we go. Guys, thanks for listening. Watch the clips. Instagram at 4th and 1 podcast. We'll see you next week.
Wash your hands, you filthy animals.